John Carter pressed his palm against the cold viewport of the observation deck. The stars seemed calm, silent witnesses to the sudden blaze of destruction below. He had never felt so small. The research station in orbit around Vega Prime was one of humanity's quiet outposts. No battles had ever touched its halls. The station existed for science, for peace, and for hope. Now it lay scarred by fire and ruin. Carter studied the flickering lights across the station's surface. Heat signatures still glowed inside the lab module, and fallen decks hung like broken branches. He turned to his team. Corporal Eric Lewis tapped the scanner, his fingers trembling. Dr. Olivia Grant held a first aid kit, her white coat streaked with dust. Engineer Paula Ortiz checked her tools, ready to patch breaches. All of them wore the same shock and fear that Carter felt. He drew a breath to steady himself. They had a mission: find survivors, measure the damage, and report back. They stepped onto the docking platform in silence. The air was stale and thick. Sensors warned of low oxygen. Carter swung his helmet light across the corridor. Panels were torn away. Exposed wires sparked like fallen stars. Footprints of molten metal marked where the alien fire had cut paths through the decks. Every step echoed in the empty halls. "Keep close," Carter ordered softly. He activated his suit radio. "Stay in voice range at all times." The team nodded. They moved down the curved hallway, past shattered glass and overturned furniture. Carter noticed scorch marks in a jagged arc at the entrance to the lab. He knelt to inspect a fragment of metal. It was not human alloy. The edge was too sharp, too precise. He clipped it to his belt. Deeper inside, the station's central corridor opened to a cluster of rooms. Carter led them through a hatch that had been forced inward. The lab module was dark, save for the glow of a ruined reactor. Beakers shattered. On counters, alien symbols glowed faintly on a wall. Carter bent to find a scorched scar shaped like a claw, each groove carved cleanly through the metal. "What is this?" Ortiz whispered. "Not ours," Carter replied. He held the fragment to his light. Strange curves in the metal, etched with a fine hand. He pocketed it. "We should keep moving." They reached the infirmary next. A fallen bed lay against a wall, its sheets stained red. Carter's heart thumped. He scanned for life signs. A faint pulse flickered on his handheld. He and Grant rushed forward. In the dim glow, a figure lay curled on the floor. It was Captain Lisa Monroe, station commander. Her face was pale, sweat and blood streaked across her brow. She gasped when Grant knelt beside her. Grant checked Monroe's arm. A nasty bruise suggested a blow, not a weapon. Carter took the captain's hand. "You're safe now. We're here to help." Monroe's eyes filled with relief. "Aliens!" "They came out of nowhere. Lasers, claws. I did not know where to hide." Carter pressed a med pack to her wound. "We need details." "What did you see?" Monroe winced but spoke. "Ships in the upper atmosphere. They fired on the shields, then soldiers landed. They took our data and our people." Carter straightened. "Data on what?" Monroe coughed. "Our research on the Void engine." "They wanted the prototype." Her voice shook. "They want to weaponize it." The Void engine was humanity's hope for fast travel between stars. If aliens took it, they would gain unmatched power. Carter felt a cold anger rise. "We'll get it back." He looked at his team. "Evacuate survivors to the shuttle bay." "I will carry Captain Monroe." Ortiz, Lewis, Grant, move now. They worked quickly, lifting the injured and guiding them down the wide maintenance tunnel. Carter carried Monroe on his back, one careful step at a time. The station groaned as emergency lights flickered. He heard distant tremors. Something larger moved outside. At the shuttle bay door, Ortiz activated the controls. The door hissed open. Inside, the lone shuttle waited, engines idling. Carter transferred Monroe to a medical seat. Grant and Ortiz helped other station crew inside. Lewis checked the console. "Flight controls online," he said. "Shields at 30%. Carter tapped his cum. "Admiral Mitchell, this is Lieutenant Carter. We have survivors. Research data compromised. Aliens took our prototype. We need immediate support." Static crackled. Then the Admiral's calm voice came through. Understood, Carter. I'm mobilizing Task Force 7. Prepare for extraction. Human command will retaliate. Carter exhaled. He looked at Monroe, pale but alive. Help is coming. The shuttle lifted off. Through its viewport, Carter saw the station's silhouette against the stars. Flames licked its hull. He pressed his palm to the glass. He promised himself one thing. Humanity would strike back with force. Outside, the shuttle cleared the station. Carter watched the void. He knew the truth now. The distant outpost was just the beginning dot in the dark between worlds. Humanity's true fleet stirred. They would not wait. Admiral Lavra Mitchell stood on the command bridge of the Vanguard. The ship's lights were bright, but her eyes were distant. She watched the holoscreen where a red dot marked the location of the downed station. She felt a deep weight in her chest. Humanity had been attacked without warning. Behind her, political leaders argued in tense voices. Senator Paul Jennings spoke first. We cannot waste our resources on a distant outpost. It is just a research station, not a strategic base. We should focus on the core worlds. General Lisa Harding clenched her fists. That station held the Void Engine prototype. If aliens have it, they will threaten every human world. We must act now. A murmur ran across the bridge. Mitchell folded her arms. The Void Engine is the key to our future. If they replicate it, we stand no chance. I say we hit back with everything we have. Science advisor Dr. Rachel Turner adjusted her glasses. Admiral, our estimates show the alien task force is stronger than our current fleet. We need more ships and better tactics, Mitchell nodded. I know the odds are against us. But we cannot wait for reinforcements that may not arrive. We must mobilize now. She turned to Captain Ethan Grant at the communications console. Send a Level 2 alert to every fleet under my command. Prepare for immediate departure. Grant tapped the screen. Alarms sounded throughout the Vanguard. Crews sprang into action. Engineers raced down corridors. Pilots strapped into cockpits. The ship trembled as power redistributed. Mitchell walked to the window. She saw stars streak as the engines began to charge. She closed her eyes for a moment. She thought of the scientist on the station, Captain Monroe, and her small team that risked everything. Now, the fate of many rested on this decision. Far away on Earth, Prime Minister Daniel Blake received the news. He sat in his study, walls lined with old books and family photos. He rubbed his temples. He knew war was coming. He tapped his desk button and spoke into the secure line. Admiral Mitchell, I order you to prioritize defense of the core worlds. Protect civilian populations first. Mitchell's face was calm but firm. Prime Minister, defense alone will not stop the threat. If we let the aliens keep the Void Engine, they will never leave us in peace. Blake paused. Understood. Gather what forces you need, but minimize civilian risk. Mitchell bowed. Yes, sir. She ended the call. She turned back to her officers. We have full authority. Prepare to jump to Sector 12. That is where we intercepted alien signals suggesting their forward base. Lieutenant Carlos Vega, tactical officer, spoke up. Admiral, our ships have standard weaponry. Should we equip experimental pulse torpedoes? Mitchell considered. Yes, Vega. Any edge we can have. She nodded to the weapons officer. Arm all ships with pulse torpedoes and high-yield missiles. The weapons officer tapped his controls. All ships report weapons online. Pulse torpedoes at full power. Mitchell allowed herself a small nod. She moved toward the nav station. Plot a course for Sector 12. Full impulse until we reach jump point. They worked in silence. The big screen showed starfields and the chosen path. The jump engines glowed. The bridge hummed with anticipation. In the science lab aboard Vanguard, Dr. Turner studied alien artifacts recovered from the station. Strange metal shards lay on tables. Each piece glowed under Turner's scanner. She jotted notes on a tablet. Her assistant, Lieutenant Marcus Nguyen, asked softly, Doctor, what do these readings mean? Turner sighed. These alloys are extremely strong and light. The energy signatures suggest they can channel power directly from the ship's core. If we understand this, we can build better armor and shields. Nguyen looked up, so we can turn their tech against them. Turner gave a small smile. If we have time. But first we must stop their advance. She paused. I will send you my preliminary findings. Pass them to the engineering teams. We need improved shields by the time we engage. Nguyen nodded. He tapped his tablet and left. Turner stared at a scrap of etched metal. The engravings looked like a code. She whispered, I will break this code. Then we will know what they plan. Up on the bridge, Admiral Mitchell watched the countdown. The ship's eye announced over the intercom. Jump in 40 seconds. She turned to her crew. Everyone ready? Ready, they replied. 10 seconds. The Vanguard's hull warped and ripped a hole in space. Bright light filled the bridge. Then calm, they emerged in a new part of space. Stars were closer, the tactical screen lit up. A formation of strange ships hovered near an asteroid field. They were sleek and long like silent predators. Alien. Fleet ahead, Vega announced. Weapons ready, the weapons officer confirmed. Mitchell took a breath. Helm, maintain distance. Vega scanned for weak points. Launch fighters once we have a target. The Vanguard glided toward the enemy. Smaller ships broke off and moved to intercept. Human fighters, agile and fierce, screamed into battle. On the fighter squadron, pilot Second Lieutenant Mark Diaz checked. His cockpit, he glanced at his wingmate, LT, Hannah Lee. Stay sharp, Lee nodded. Got you, they accelerated. Torpedoes launched. Explosions lit the void. Back on the bridge, Vega reported. Enemy shields holding at 70%. Missiles not penetrating, Mitchell frowned. Try the pulse torpedoes. Aim for the joints. The weapons officer directed the fire. Bright beams struck the alien hull. The shields flickered, then cracked. One of the enemy ships groaned and began to burn. Cheering broke out on the bridge. Mitchell raised a hand. Hold your fire for now. We need to test their reactions. The enemy ships formed ranks. They turned toward the Vanguard. Their weapons glowed with a menacing red light. Vega said, aliens are charging their main cannons. Evasive maneuvers, Mitchell ordered. The helm banked the ship. All crew felt the shift. On the science lab, Turner read the latest report. Their weapon charges match the symbols on our scrap. They use power pulses. If we keep our shields stable, we can survive the blast. She tapped her comb. Admiral, reduce shield fluctuations. Keep levels steady at maximum. A few moments of tense waiting. Then a volley of red beams struck the Vanguard. The shields held, sparks flew across the glass. Crews braced themselves. When the dust settled, Mitchell scanned the damage report. Minor hull breaches only, no casualties. Good work. She turned to Vega. Now strike back, full assault. Human fighters returned, fanning out. The Vanguard led the charge, firing torpedoes that carved bright trails. The alien flagship staggered. It fired back but missed. A torpedo hit its wing and vented its power core. It exploded in a silent blossom of light on the bridge. Cheers rang out. Mitchell allowed herself a brief smile. We have sent a message, but she knew this was only the first battle. The larger war still lay ahead. She looked at the holoscreen. Sector 12 burned with conflict. Humanity mobilized its true fleet, and Admiral Mitchell was ready to lead the fight. Somewhere in the void between stars, human resolve glowed brighter than any weapon. They would fight for their future, no matter the cost. Deep within the asteroid field of Sector 12, Lieutenant John Carter stood on the deck of the Corvette Horizon. He stared through the viewport at the swirling rocks around them. The horizon was small and fast. It could weave between asteroids that blocked larger ships. Carter felt both pride and dread. The mission ahead would test every skill he had. Admiral Mitchell had called him personally. The plan was to slip past the alien picket ships and approach their main base nestled inside a hollowed asteroid. There, humanity's scientists hoped to recover the stolen Void engine prototype. Carter led a team of 6 volunteers. Engineer Paula Ortiz, medic Dr. Olivia Grant, Corporal Eric Lewis, Communications Specialist Nina Patel, Weapons Officer Marcus Diaz, and himself made the group. Each of them carried the weight of millions of lives on their shoulders. "All stations report readiness?" Carter asked. His voice was calm but firm. They stood around a holographic table showing the base's layout. Ortiz tapped the map. "Power. Coupling is here. We breached the generator room to cut their shields." Grant frowned. "Without shields, their defenses may fall, but base alarms will trigger. We have limited time." Patel adjusted her headset. "Communications tower is here. If I can jam their frequencies, we can slow reinforcements." Lewis flexed his fingers. "I'll handle door blasts with charges." His grin was confident. Diaz checked his pulse rifle. "Weapons ready. If things go south, we hold them off." Carter nodded. "We go in on my mark. Shuttle to asteroid mouth. Stay sharp, we move fast." Outside, the horizon glided close to the asteroid. The shuttle Dark Star hovered at the entrance. Carter led the team aboard. They wore stealth suits that blended with the asteroid's surface. Patel set her cum-jammer to standby. Ortiz secured her toolkit. Grant packed medical supplies. Lewis held a set of breaching charges. Diaz loaded extra pulse ammunition. Carter readied his pistol. The shuttle slipped into the narrow tunnel. Rocks scraped along its hull. Darkness pressed in. Carter's heart raced. He flicked his visor light. Off, in the dim red glow of interior lamps, he could just see the jagged walls. They emerged into a cavernous chamber. Alien machines hummed along the walls. Strange glyphs glowed on panels. The base's heart pulsed like a living creature. "Patel, jam their internal comms now," Carter whispered. Patel activated her device. A soft hum filled the air. She tapped. Her console. "Jamming comms. They won't call for help easily." "Ortiz, lead the way to the generator." Carter motioned forward. He kept low, his pistol ready. The corridor twisted and branched. Ortiz tapped on her handheld scanner. "This way." She turned down a side tunnel. They reached a heavy blast door. Lewis pressed his charge pack to the hinges. He placed 3 charges. "Stand back," he detonated. The door exploded inward, metal fragments scattering. Carter moved in first. Sparks flew as he punched open his helmet light. The generator room was massive. 2 towering spires glowed with blue energy. Cables snaked along the floor. "There," Ortiz pointed. "We cut those main conduits." Carter and Lewis sprinted forward. They attached explosive clamps to the cables. Diaz covered them. His rifle barked if an alien guard rounded the corner. The blasts echoed through the chamber. After the last clamp was in place, Carter set the timer. 3 minutes. "We need to." "Leave before it blows?" Grant checked her timer. "We have time." "But we must get the prototype, too." Carter nodded. "Next stop, data vault." They retraced their steps to the cum tower. Patel guided them again. At the cum tower door, Patel hacked the panel. Her fingers flew. "Almost there, quotes," she whispered. The door slid open. Inside, rows of consoles glowed, data drives lined racks. "I see the drive bay," Patel said, "but system lock is heavy." Ortiz knelt at the console. "I'll bypass the firewall." She connected her interface. Firewalls and encryption routines flashed on her screen. "Hurry," Carter urged. "Explosive set." Ortiz worked quickly. She bypassed layer after layer. Finally, she inserted her drive into the alien port. A chime sounded. "Got it. Copying data now." Ortiz's voice was hopeful. "Copy the drive with the prototype schematics. That's our priority." Carter peered at the racks. Patel scrolled through the console. Artifacts section. "Here void engine schematics. Copy in progress." Grant scanned the corridor. Hostiles inbound. Diaz aimed his rifle. Just in time. Alien soldiers in sleek armor advanced. Carter raised his pistol. "Hold position. Cover our tech crew." Diaz and Lewis opened fire. Pulse blasts lit the hall. Aliens barked orders in a harsh tongue. Energy shields flickered under human fire. Ortiz worked through her panic. "Data at 80%, 90. Done. Drive secured." She pocketed the alien data drive. Patel jammed nearby sensors. Sensors down. They will have trouble tracking us. Carter nodded. Fall back to shuttle. Move. They sprinted through the corridors. Explosions rocked the base as the generator charges detonated. Blue energy arcs collapsed. Sirens wailed. Carter led them toward the shuttle bay. Alien troops blocked their path. Carter shouted orders. Flank left. Use the side passage. They dodged into a maintenance tunnel. Aliens fired behind. The shots sparked on the walls. One alien soldier lunged at Grant. Carter turned and shot it down. They raced through the tunnel. Cold air rushed as they neared the shuttle entrance. Patel activated her jammer. One last burst disabled the auto-dash lock. The shuttle doors opened. They dove inside. Carter slammed the controls. The hatch closed. Ortiz set the drive on the console. Patel sealed the locker. Diaz and Lewis took positions at the mounts. Grant checked everyone. We're all here. No serious injuries? Lewis rubbed his arms. A few scrapes, but I'm fine. Carter exhaled. Prepare for takeoff. Outside, alien troops lined the metal walkway. They raised weapons. But the shuttle's engines roared. It lifted off, leaving the hallway in a spray of dust and debris. The shuttle shot into the open chamber. Carter guided it through falling rocks and debris. Remnants of the base collapse. Once clear, he angled the vessel toward the horizon. Patel patched the shuttle to the corvette's docking bay. Shields flared as they docked. Inside the horizon, Admiral Mitchell awaited. She stood under the glowing holomap. Carter saluted. Mission accomplished, Admiral. Prototype data recovered. Base destroyed. Mitchell nodded. Relief softened her stern features. Well done, Carter. You and your team have struck a great blow. Ortiz held the alien drive. Data intact, Admiral. We can rebuild the engine. Dr. Turner entered. I have preliminary analysis. This data will accelerate our research by months. Mitchell clasped Carter's shoulder. Your bravery and skill saved humanity's future. Carter looked at the ruined asteroid field outside the viewport. We have more work ahead. But today we have won a part of this war. The crew exchanged determined looks. The stars beyond seemed less silent now. They pulsed with the promise of a new tomorrow. Humanity had struck back, and the fight was far from over. On the deck of the battleship Vanguard, Admiral Lavra Mitchell stood tall facing the main holoscreen. Sector 12 still burned behind her. She watched as the horizon returned with the prototype data. A deep sense of pride warmed her. Humanity had struck at the heart of the alien threat. Mitchell turned to her officers. Captain Ethan Grant at Communications, Lieutenant Carlos Vega at Tactics, Dr. Rachel Turner at Science, and General Lisa Harding at Security. Each wore expressions of focus. We have the schematics, Mitchell spoke. Now we must protect Earth and our allies, but this fight is far from over. Grant tapped the console. Message from Prime Minister Blake. He wants an update and a plan for next moves. Mitchell nodded. Send him the details. Then prepare a briefing for the Council. I want civilian worlds reassured. As the Council on Earth heard her voice, citizens across human space held their breath. The news was clear. Humanity would not hide. Meanwhile, in the quiet corridors of Vanguard, Dr. Turner examined the alien data drive. Sparks of excitement lit her lab. This code is elegant, she whispered. She tapped keys. Her assistant, Lieutenant Marcus Nguyen, watched eagerly. Once we reverse engineer their reactor designs, our ships will gain better shields and more power, Turner explained. We can even adapt their energy conversion for ground defenses. Nguyen nodded. We should start prototypes immediately. Turner glanced up as alarms sounded. Admiral warning multiple vessels warping into our space. On the bridge, Vega studied the screen. Enemy reinforcements. A dozen cruisers and escort ships. They must have traced the base explosion. Mitchell took a deep breath. Battle stations. All ships move to defensive positions. Protect the Vanguard at all costs. The fleet swung into formation. Smaller frigates flanked the Vanguard. Fighter squadrons roared to life. The void pulsed with red and blue light as ships latched into jump points. Down in the engine room, engineer Paula Ortiz oversaw power distribution. Technician Eric Lewis monitored reactor status. "We have full reactor output," Ortiz said. "Shields at 90%, Lewis grinned. "All weapons primed." "Let them come." Back on the bridge, Vega assessed the enemy. Their ships are similar in size to ours, but their weapon arrays suggest higher energy outputs. "Then we must outmaneuver them," Mitchell replied. "Use fighters as bait. Draw their fire and strike their flanks." The fighter groups readied. Second Lieutenant Mark Diaz and his wingmate, Lieutenant Hannah Lee, strapped into their cockpits. "Stay close, Lee," Diaz said. "We'll break their formation." Lee nodded. "On your mark," Mitchell gave the order. "Launch fighters, all capital ships, hold fire until targets are clear." Human fighters launched like hornets. They darted through the void, flanking the alien fleet. Pulse cannons and missiles streaked toward alien shields. On the Vanguard bridge, Vega monitored the battle. "Fighters have drawn 2 cruisers. They are breaking formation." "Now," Mitchell ordered, "open fire." The Vanguard and its escorts unleashed volleys of pulse torpedoes. Bright blasts carved seams in alien shields. One cruiser lost a wing. Another vented its power core. Sweat beaded on Vega's brow. "Shields holding, but their numbers are large." Mitchell stared at the holoscreen. "We need to tip the scales, Doctor." "Turner, can you implement the new shielding protocols yet?" Turner on the com replied. "Systems ready, but untested in combat. Do we risk it?" Mitchell weighed the choice. "We have little choice. Activate the alien shield matrix. Redirect power through the new converters." On the engineering console, Ortiz flipped switches. The reactor hummed with a different tone. Shields glowed with pale blue arcs. "Shields at full strength," Ortiz reported. At that moment, a barrage of red beams struck the Vanguard. The shields absorbed the energy. Sparks danced on the viewing screen but held firm. Cheering broke out among the crew. "It worked!" A weapons officer shouted. Mitchell allowed herself a small smile. "All ships, press the attack. Focus on the lead cruisers." Human vessels surged. The alien fleet faltered under the coordinated assault. Fighters targeted support ships. Capital ships fired broadside. In the heat of battle, Second Lieutenant Diaz circled a crippled alien destructor. Lee fired a missile. It hit the reactor. The ship exploded. On the Vanguard, Vega reported diminishing enemy. "They are retreating," Mitchell rose. "Maintain pursuit until they exit combat range, then hold position." The fleet pressed forward. Lasers carved trails across the starlit expanse. Finally, the remaining aliens disengaged and warped away. A cheer filled the Vanguard. The crew slapped each other's backs. Mitchell looked at her officers. "We have won this battle. But the enemy remains out there. This war will go on." Down. In the medical bay, Captain Lisa Monroe recovered. She listened to the news with gratitude. Dr. Olivia Grant checked her vitals. "You are lucky, Captain. Humanity did not abandon your station." Monroe smiled weakly. "And I will help in any way I can to repay them." Back on Earth, Prime Minister Blake addressed the people in a live broadcast. "Today we stand united. Our courage and our hope have carried us through the darkness." Children watched from schools. Workers from factories. Everyone cheered his words. On the Vanguard, Admiral Mitchell looked out at the stars. The next fight awaited, but she knew humanity was ready. They had struck back with force, and they would do so again. In the silent void between worlds, human resolve burned with a steady light. No distant outpost, no alien fleet could dim their spirit. On Earth, the High Council gathered in the Grand Chamber of the Unity Summit. Prime Minister Daniel Blake sat at the center table. Around him were leaders from Allied Worlds, Mars Colony Governor Elena Brooks, Titan Prefect Samuel Green, and diplomats from the lunar bases. The hall was silent as Admiral Mitchell's hologram appeared before them. Mitchell's voice filled the chamber. "Esteemed leaders, the alien threat has shown its power. They seized our prototype, but we have reclaimed the schematics and struck their forward base." Brooks leaned forward. "Your victory is remarkable, Admiral, But what of their home systems? Mitchell studied the council. We have a brief window to press our advantage. Intelligence suggests their fleet massing near Epsilon Eridani. If we strike first, we can disrupt their command structure. Green tapped his datapad. Our forces are ready. Titan ships can join the assault fleet. Lunar diplomat Marisol Diaz asked, "What are the risks?" Mitchell replied, "Hi, their home defenses are stronger. But with the Void engine tech, we can use hit-and-run tactics. Speed and surprise will be our allies." Blake nodded. "Then let us unite our forces. Prepare the Armada?" Back aboard the Vanguard, crews worked nonstop. In the engine room, Ortiz and her team installed upgraded power converters. Dr. Turner supervised the shield recalibrations. Vega ran simulations of the planned raid. Carter, now on leave, stood in a quiet park on Luna City. He watched Earthrise over the horizon. The soft blue planet glowed. He held a photograph of his family, his sister, his parents smiling in front of their home on Florida's coast. "Lieutenant Carter," a voice said. Captain Lisa Monroe approached. She had recovered fully. "The Admiral requests your presence." Carter slipped the photo in his pocket. "On my way." He boarded a shuttle to Vanguard, his mind racing with memories of Sector 12. He thought of Ortiz's calm under fire, Grant's steady hands, and Patel's quick thinking. They had become more than shipmates, they were family. Aboard the flagship, Admiral Mitchell greeted him. "Welcome back, Carter. Rest is short." "We prepare to move on Epsilon," Carter straightened. "Sir," Mitchell led him to the briefing hall. A large hala of Epsilon Eridani system floated above the table. White dots marked human ships. Red dots marked alien defenses. "Our goal is to disable their central command outpost on Eridani 4, Mitchell explained. "Carter, you and your team will lead the boarding party once the shields are down." Carter saluted. "Understood, Admiral." Mitchell turned to Vega. "Once our fleet engages their destroyers, we take out the shield generator, then Carter's team boards." Vega nodded. "We anticipate heavy resistance, but our new tactics and shields should hold." Then to Carter, "Your team will arrive under fighter cover. Drop pods will breach the hull." The hala zoomed into the planet's orbit. A massive station orbited the planet. Thick shields glowed around it. Carter inhaled. "We will be ready." Days later, the Armada approached the battle zone. Human ships formed a crescent formation, fighters buzzing at their flanks. The alien command station glowed with pulsing shields. "Engage at my mark," Mitchell announced over the comm. "Mark!" Fighters swooped in, drawing fire. Torpedoes struck the shields, weakening them. Ortiz's shield protocols held as red blasts hammered the Vanguard. Sparks flew across bulkheads. Inside the station, Carter and his team lay in drop pods. The pods' glass covers split. They crashed onto the station floor with jolts. They leaped out into a corridor lined with alien glyphs. Diesel lights flickered. Carter checked his team. Ortiz, Grant, Lewis, Patel, Diaz, and now new recruit Sergeant Mia Torres. "Move to the generator room," Carter ordered. Lewis led the way, his pulse rifle blazing. Alien soldiers poured from side corridors. The team fought with precision. Ortiz and Grant patched wounds on the move. Patel jammed sensors, and Diaz matched firepower. They breached the generator room door. Inside, a towering array of emitters glowed with energy. Carter placed charges on the supports. 2 minutes to evacuation. Torres set up a perimeter. "All clear," Grant checked readings. "Shields down in 3.2. Now." Outside, the fleet's torpedoes smashed the station's shields. The hull rippled. Carter saw it on his sensor. "Go!" They ran down the corridor, blast doors closing behind them. In the chaos, one alien guard lunged at Torres. Lewis intercepted, tackling the guard. A burst of plasma lit the hull. They reached the pod bay. Shuttles waited. Carter pressed the launch button. "Evacuate!" Pods fired off. The station trembled. Charges blew. The generator array exploded in a cascade of blue light. The station's lights dimmed. Outside, human vessels pressed the attack. The station's weapons fell silent. Fighters flew in to secure the field. Carter's shuttle docked. With Vanguard He reported in. Station disabled. Command structure broken. We have the initiative, Mitchell smiled. You did well. Today, humanity took the fight to their home. Carter looked at the stars. This war will end only when we secure peace. But today, we have made our stand. He felt hope rise. The distant outpost attack had sparked a war. But humanity had answered with force and unity. The true fleet was not just ships and weapons. It was the spirit of every soul standing together in the void, and that spirit burned brighter than any star. The void was silent after the battle. The vanguard and its escorts drifted in the empty space above Epsilon Eridani. Smoke trailed from damaged hulls, and crews moved quietly down the corridors. The taste of victory was sharp but laced with sorrow. Lives had been lost, and the war still lingered. Lieutenant John Carter stood on the horizon's deck, staring at the bruised planet below. The drop pellet of white clouds and blue oceans seemed peaceful. He wondered what Earth's people were doing now. Families welcomed heroes, but how many mourned fallen soldiers? Engineer Paula Ortiz joined him. She held a small datapad showing shield recalibrations. We lost good people today, she said softly. Carter nodded. They gave their lives so we could strike this blow. We must honor them by seeing this war through. Ortiz tapped the pad. The new shielding tech is working. We can keep our ships safe for the next battle. Carter offered a small smile, one step at a time. Below them, the station on Eridani IV lay in ruins. Its shield matrix was shattered and its towers lay dark. The once proud command hub was now just wreckage drifting in orbit. On Vanguard, Admiral Laver Mitchell paced the bridge. Captain Ethan Grant hovered at the COM station, sending final reports to Earth. General Lisa Harding examined casualty lists. Send messages to their families, Mitchell ordered. Every soldier's sacrifice must be remembered. Grant nodded. Yes, Admiral. Mitchell turned to Vega. What of enemy remnants? Vega studied the tactical display. Scanners show several stragglers. They are retreating deeper into enemy space. Mitchell folded her arms. Then we give them no rest, prepare ships for pursuit. We will not let them regroup. Down in the medical bay, Dr. Olivia Grant tended to the wounded. Corporal Eric Lewis lay on a bandage across his side. He grimaced as Grant cleaned the wound. You fought well, she said. You saved lives by covering the retreat. Lewis tried to smile. All in a day's work, but I feel empty. Grant placed a hand on his shoulder. Give yourself time to heal. You will feel whole again, he nodded. Thank you. In the science lab, Dr. Rachel Turner and Lieutenant Nina Patel studied alien data drives. Multiple drives whirred on the table, each holding secrets of alien technology. These records show their home defense systems, Turner said. They have automated turbolasers and drone fleets. We must adapt our tactics, Patel scrolled through schematics. We can create countermeasures. If we jam their drone frequencies, their automated turrets will turn on each other. Turner looked up, excitement in her eyes. That could save countless lives on front lines. Prepare the code. She tapped at her console. Patel smiled. On it. In the recreation hall, Sergeant Mia Torres, newly returned from the raid, played a quiet tune on her holophone. The soft melody filled the hall. Other soldiers sat around, some asleep, some staring vacantly. A young pilot, Ensign Brian Cole, looked up. That's Earthfolk music, right? Torres nodded. My mother taught me. It reminds me why we fight. Home. Cole studied the ceiling. I miss my hometown. I wonder if it's safe. Torres offered a reassuring smile. We will keep it safe. We have to. Suddenly alarms blared. The bridge reported incoming coordinates. Mitchell's voice crackled over the COM. All hands, battle stations. New enemy fleet detected at Eridani's outer rim. Explosions rocked the Vanguard. Smoke trailed through the corridors. Carter grabbed his pistol and rushed to the deck. Ortiz and Lewis followed. On the bridge, Vega reported, they are more ships than expected. Cruisers and frigates in tight formation. They're attacking us. Mitchell called out, raise shields. Helm, bring us to defensive orbit over the ruined station. The Vanguard lurched. The deck shook, shields flared up. Engines roared down the halls. Grant and medics set up triage stations for new casualties. The medical bay filled with wounded crew members from the Horizon and escort ships. "Stay calm," Grant instructed. "We will get you through this." Carter ran to the Horizon. Ortiz followed, clutching her datapad. "We can use the new shielding adjustments to hold longer," she yelled. Carter nodded. "Let's plug them in, fast." In the engineering section, Ortiz handed the pad to Chief Engineer Derek Moore. "Input these values." "Shields will regenerate faster," Moore nodded. "On it." He typed quickly. The shield's icon on his console glowed green on the bridge. Vega announced, "All ships, focus fire on the lead enemy cruiser. Disable their command ship first." The fleet responded. Lasers lanced out, striking the alien ships. The new shielding. Tech held under return fire. Carter watched the battle unfold. "They are stubborn," he muttered. Ortiz stood beside him. "But they are breaking," the lead cruiser sparks. It veered off course. Escort ships tried to help, but human tactics outmatched them. The alien fleet faltered. Mitchell's voice came through. "The come. All attack wings. Press the advantage." We pushed them out. Fighters dove in. The Horizon joined, weaving through enemy fire. Carter ordered, "Target the cruiser's flanks. Ortiz, keep us shielded." Ortiz nodded, tapping controls. "Shields at max, we're good." Carter's team greeted chaos with steady resolve. Grant fired. Med beams at injured pilots. Lewis and Diaz fired back at alien fighters. After a fierce skirmish, the alien fleet broke formation and retreated. The void grew quiet again. On the bridge, Mitchell let out a breath. "Status report?" Vega said, "Minimal. HUL damage. Shields held at 90%. Enemy losses heavy." Mitchell nodded. "Good, but warn all fleets. The enemy will not give up. We must strike before they can rebuild." The crews cheered softly. Another victory, but the war stretched on. Carter and Ortiz exchanged tired smiles. Later, in the captain's ready room, Mitchell praised the officers. "Your leadership and bravery have made this war winnable. Godspeed as we press forward." Carter stood with Ortiz, Grant, and Lewis. He looked at each of their faces. "We fight because we must," he said. "For home, for future, for each other." They nodded. The silent void beyond the viewport seemed endless, but inside them burned hope. Humanity had struck back with force, and they would continue until every star was safe. In the deep darkness of space, human courage shone brightest of all.